Yesha atmapado avyakto nastaha kalena bhuyasa tam pravartidum deham imam vidhimaya bhridam. Yesha atmapado avyakto नास्ताः कालेन भूयसः नष्टकालेन भूयसः तं प्रवर्तयितुं देहम् इमं विधिमया भृदम् एष आत्मपदो नष्ट एष आत्मपदो अव्यक्तो नष्टकालेन भूयसा तं प्रवर्तयितुं देहम् imam vidhimaya bhudam. Synonyms. Yeshaha is Atma Padaha, path of self-realization. Avyakta, difficult to be known. Nashtaha, lost. Kalena bhuyasa, in the course of time. Tham, this. Pravartayidum, to introduce again. Deham, body. Imam, this. Vidhi, please know. Maya, by me. Bhridam, assumed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: this path of self-realization, which is difficult to understand, has now been lost in the course of time. Please know that I have assumed this body of Kapila to introduce and explain this philosophy to human society again. Purport: it is not true that Sankhya philosophy is a new system of philosophy introduced by Kapila, as material philosophers introduce new kinds of mental speculative thought to supersede that of another philosopher. On the material platform, everyone, especially the mental speculator, tries to be more prominent than others. The field of activity of the speculators is the mind. There is no limit to the different ways in which one can agitate the mind, and thus one can put forward an unlimited number of theories. Sankhya philosophy is not like that. It is not mental speculation. It is factual. But at the time of Kapila, it was lost. In due course of time, a particular type of knowledge may be lost or may be covered for the time being. That is the nature of this material world. A similar statement was made by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Sakalena mahada yogo nashta parandapa. In course of time, the yoga system, stated in Bhagavad Gita, was lost. It was coming in parambara, in disciplic succession. But due to the passage of time, it was lost. The time factor is so pressing that in the course of time, everything within this material world is spoiled or lost. The yoga system of Bhagavad Gita was lost before the meeting of Krishna and Arjuna. Therefore, Krishna again enunciated the same ancient yoga system to Arjuna, who could actually understand Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, Kapila also said that the system of Sankhya philosophy was not exactly being introduced by him. It was already current, but in course of time, it was mysteriously lost, and therefore he appeared to be reintroduced it. That is the purpose of the incarnation of Godhead. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Dharma means the real occupation of the living entity. When there is a discrepancy in the eternal occupation of the living entity, the Lord comes and introduces the real occupation of life. Any so-called religious system that is not in the line of devotional service is called adharma samstavana. When people forget their eternal relationship with God and engage in something other than devotional service, their engagement is called irreligion. How one can get out of the miserable condition of material life is stated in Sankhya philosophy, and the Lord himself is explaining this sublime system. Om Jnanatimiram Dasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stabidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahim Dadadhi Sapadandigam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yudapadagammalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathanidam Tam Sajivam Sadhuidam Savadudam Parijana Sahidam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalidam Shri Vishakhanidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandhu Jagatpade Govisha Gopiga Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and do pranam again. Today is a very, very auspicious day of the appearance day of the Supreme Lord, Sri Balaram. So here itself, in these words, reveals that the purpose of the appearance of the Supreme Lord. Yada yadahi dharmasya glanar bhavati bharata, whenever and wherever there is a decline of religious principles, the Lord appears. So we know that this chapter is titled as the renunciation of Kardama Muni. The Kardama Muni was about to return to his sadhana, understood that the Supreme Lord is appeared as his own son. So Kardama Muni was remembering that Supreme Lord's promise. The Lord kept that promise and appeared as the son of Kardama Muni. Now this time Kardama Muni went in a secluded place and prayed to the Lord, and Lord is there. Lord appeared and praying to the Lordships. Oh Lord, you appeared as Kapila in order to teach the instructions of the devotional service to the humanity. So this time Supreme Lord was talking to Kardama Muni directly. The Supreme Lord was speaking to Kardama Muni directly. My appearance in this planet is to educate the devotional services, so which was lost in due course of time. So dear devotees, this is the transcendental knowledge which is eternal. So we'll come to that point in a bit. Transcendental knowledge, or the Veda, which is the breath of the Lord. So when the time passes, in due course of time, people decline. People then forgot, and then they reduce to their dharma, and some point of time it is lost from this world. People does not know what to do. We know that if you look at the entire history, people lose that what to do, what is the right thing to do in their life. So we have so many philosophies manifested in due course of time. There were Buddhist philosophy, there is impersonal philosophy, Mayavad philosophy, Brahmavad philosophy, there is Jaina philosophy. There are so many philosophies out there. Why? Because of they lose their what to do and the real transcendental knowledge, or it's real. Here it is mentioned that dharma. We know that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears, that by that time there are so many apasampradayas manifested in this world after the departure of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So many apasampradayas manifested. Then Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur then revived those. Before the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, there are so many in the name of the scholarly, and they don't know, they are just talking here and there. Whatever comes to their mind, and they will speak, and they will introduce and induce this to the people to follow. So there are so many apasampradayas were there. So then Lord manifest in order to educate. That's why Krishna also remembers this. Krishna said, this happens many, many times. This is in the beginning of, the millennium of Lord Brahmadev. And then Krishna was telling to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter, the 2nd verse, it says that, Evam parambara praptam, imam rajashyo vidum sakale namahe mahada yoko nashtaparandapa. O Arjuna, this transcendental knowledge comes down this to the disciplic succession. Sahale mahada yoko nashtaparandapa. O Arjuna, this is lost in between. I instructed this transcendental knowledge to the sun god Vivaswan. Vivaswan instructed this to Manu. Manu in turn instructed this to Shwagu. So this is the way the disciplic succession, this transcendental knowledge comes down. But in due course of time, it's slow. So now I am revealing to you this transcendental knowledge. Similarly, in thousands of years, millenniums ago, that this was there. And as we know that Lord Sangarshana was originally started to spoke this transcendental knowledge. So today is a very, very auspicious day of appearance day of Lord Balaram. So that's why Lord Balaram is known as Adi Guru. Balaram ji is known as Adi Guru, original spiritual master. We know that the Supreme Lord himself, or that Supreme Lord himself, is known as the internal potency of the Lord, Antaranga Shakti. That Antaranga Shakti is also again divided into 3, is known as Samruddha potency, Sandhini potency, and Hladini potency. The Sandhini potency is the immediate expansion or the potency of the Krishna is known as the knowledge potency. The knowledge potency or Sandhini potency is known as, or Chit potency or knowledge potency. This is known as the Sandhini potency, which is none other than the Balaramji. So Balaramji is the immediate expansion of Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavad explains that there is no difference between Krishna and Balaram. Krishna is in the color of black, dark, bluish, or Shama Sundara or Shama Varna. Balaramji is in the color of fair, very fair. That's the only difference between Krishna and Balaram. Otherwise, everything is equal. Krishna's pastimes is same as Balaramji's pastimes. Balaramji also has the pastimes. Krishna has 64 qualities. Balaramji has 64 qualities. Krishna has peacock. Balaramji also has peacock. Krishna has flute. Balaramji has flute. But then we should understand why Balaramji is manifested. So there is Acharyas mentioned that Krishna is so merciful. Krishna is so merciful in such a way that, so Lord himself manifested in the form of Balaramji so that this transcendental knowledge is imparted to the living entities so that they can revive their original consciousness and attain the perfection of their life. So in one of the Bhagavatam class, one of the devotee was mentioning this, asking this question, that Lord comes and paritranaya sadhunam and vinashaya dushkruta. Lord comes down and then annihilate the miscreants. So what is the hope for those who are the demoniac? What are the hope for those who are miscreants in this world? How they will attain Krishna? So it was a good question. And it was mentioned that, yes, Lord then manifests in the form of Balaram. Lord immediately the same form of Krishna as Balaram. That Balaram then reveals that has Sandhini potency and reveals that transcendental knowledge so that every living entity can be understood and that they can be revived their original Krishna consciousness and attain the Krishna in their abode back. So because of Krishna is so merciful, this is the mercy aspects of Krishna that Balaram is manifested. And so that every living entity in the Balaramji is actually then completely, in the potency, the knowledge potency, Sandhini potency reveals this to the devotees. That's why the Sandhini Shakti or Adi Guru, Balaram is known as Adi Guru, all the spiritual masters are the representations of Srila Balaramji. All the Guru Tattva is mainly the Guru Tattva starts from the Balaramji or from the Adi Guru. So we know that in due course of time, then Balaramji takes a position, takes such a subservient position to the Supreme Lord. So why? Because of this is the eternal, the principle that how a Krishna and all the Krishnas, there are two things, Krishna and Krishnas should be comes together and to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in what mood. The mood of Balaramji is subservient. In all respect, Balaramji is serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Both are Bhagavans, both are Krishna, the same Krishna himself, both are same. But at the same time, the Krishna and the Balaram both are in the same Krishna. But here one is the Sevaka Bhagavan and another is known as the Savior Bhagavan. Savior Bhagavan is Krishna and another is known as Sevaka Bhagavan, one who gives the service to Krishna. Both are Krishna. So this is the eternal relationship, dear devotees, between the Atma and the Paramatma. So here we can understand that later, that same Supreme Lord Balaramji then, becoming the Krishna's flute. The same Balaramji is becoming Krishna's abode, the Goloka Vrindavan. The same Balaramji is again becoming the recliner of Krishna, where Krishna is lying down. The same Balaramji is becoming as the dress of Krishna. Same Balaramji is manifesting as the peacock of Balaram. The same Balaramji is appearing as the entire abode of the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, is floating into the spiritual realm. And anything that which manifests is come from the Balaram. Why? What is the reason? To serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To serve Krishna. Nothing else, to serve Krishna. So everything is manifested to serve, to please Krishna. So that's why all the spiritual world even and the material world even created in the same purpose of it. Then we know that the Supreme Lord, that Sri Balaram, is the cause of then again all the other causes, even though it says that the supreme cause is Krishna, the primary cause. Ishvara Paramakrishna Brahma Samhita reveals this. Ishvara Paramakrishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. This is the primary cause. He is the cause of all the causes. But on the other hand, the Balaramji, even though we know that the Balaramji is the immediate expansions of Krishna, then everything else manifests from Balaramji. We know that even the quadruple expansions, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anirudh, is that the plenary expansions of Balaram. From that plenary expansion, then there is another expansion called Narayana. Then again, there is a second quadruple expansion, is known as the second Chaturvyuha expansion, that is again Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anirudh. Then again from that Narayana, then Mahavishnu even manifest. So basically, Mahavishnu is the plenary expansions of the expansions of Balaramji. Plenary expansions and expansions of the Lord Balaram. So then we know that from that Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu manifests, and ends at that Mahavishnu, then each post of the Mahavishnu, each universe comes out, and Lord enters in each universe is known as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu again expands as the Shirodakshaya Vishnu. And all the incarnations in this material world manifest from the Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So even in this case of Lord Kapila is also an expansion of that Shirodakshaya Vishnu, that the Lord himself. But remember that when Lord expands himself or manifests himself, don't reduce anything. Okay, from Mahavishnu Garbhodakshaya Vishnu come from Mahavishnu, so that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is a little less than Mahavishnu. No, it's not like that. In the spiritual, everything has complete. As is mentioned that Purnat Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. And then also the Lord is again manifest in the form of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. And it's also the same lordships. But then their functions may be different, but it's the same lordships. So that's why it is called Kala. Kala means the various functions of it. Various functions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why the word comes Kala, means that the functions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here we can say that even Kapila Devi is also the manifestation of that Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Where is come from? The original, the Lord Balaram. So Lord Balaram is mentioned that, and that same Lord Balaram originally spoken this transcendental knowledge. Originally spoken this transcendental knowledge to Kumaras. Even Srimad Bhagavatam is also originally spoken by Sri Sangarshan. So Sangarshan and all these various expansions and known as the manifestations or expansions of Lord Balaram. So we know that Lord same Balaram is also, when Krishna appeared, Balaramji also appeared as an eldest brother and as an eldest brother. So Lord Balaram has many names. Lord Balaram has many names. One of the name of Lord Balaram is Bala and Ram. What is that Bala? Which is a spiritual potency. If that Sandhini potency or that spiritual potency of the Balaram, this is the Bala, that spiritual potency that one can gain only through the Sangarshana, only through this Balaram. So Balaram gives that the spiritual potency. That's why he is known as Bala. Bala means potency or the Shakti. So when there is that spiritual potency, the Shakti, Balara, that through the Balaram that we get. So that's why we get that Shakti through a Guru. That's why it's very important that one should attain this Sandhini potency through the devotees and Guru. When that Sandhini potency and then also the mix, then the Hladini potency. Hladini potency comes from Srimati Radharani. When that comes together, when Sandhini potency and Hladini potency, then that comes together, then it's known as Bhakti Shakti. Bhakti Shakti means the devotional potency, the Bhakti. The Bhakti Shakti one can attain that originally from the Balara, the Sandhini Shakti, and then from the Hladini Shakti, Srimati Radharani, then only one can, enters into the Bhakti, the devotional processes. So here Bala, the spiritual potency comes from the Balaramji. So that's why, and also he is known as Ram. So Ram means one Ramedi or Ramayanti, that means one who gives the pleasure. One who gives the pleasure, that's called Ram. So there is a beautiful explanation is there. And when Garga Muni was naming Krishna and Balaram, Garga Muni was mentioning all this in the Srimad Bhagavad, it is there. Garga Muni was mentioning all this. And one who has such a pleasure and who gives the pleasure to his devotees, one who gives the pleasure, that is called Ram. And he is also known as Balaram. So Lord Balaramji gives such a potency, such a pleasure potency to his devotees. So remember that when the one who engages in the devotional services, that pleasure, that which bliss comes from the devotional aspects is come from the Lord Ram also. So then like that, Garga Muni was giving this naming for Lord Balaramji and also mentioned that this is also Sangarshan. Sangarshan means Samkarshana. Karshana means he is attracted to the Rohini's womb completely attracted to the Rohini's womb, and then also he is known as Bala, Sangarshana. Then he is also known as Balabhadra. Bhadra means all auspiciousness. Balabhadra means he is the epitome, he is the complete source of all auspiciousness. Balaramji. He is the complete source of all the auspiciousness. Balaram, Balabhadra. And then there are so many other names. Sankarshana, Baladev, Baladev. He is the epitome, he is the source of all the Bala, the spiritual potency. He is also known as Davuji. Davuji means the eldest brother of Krishna. So like that, Sangarshana has, the Balaram has so many names. Another name, Gargamuni was mentioning that he is Ananda. He is unlimited. He is unlimited. Ananda means unlimited. And then also he is known as Shesha. Shesha means he remains. Shesha means remains. And he is also known as Ananda Shesh, one who remains, one who always Shesh, and Ananda unlimited. And he is the one who, as I mentioned, that he is the cause of the material and the spiritual abode and the creations. He is the cause of all that creations, even though Krishna is the primary cause, but it's happening through that. There's no difference between Krishna and the Balaram, but it's Balaram is manifesting or the cause of those creations. And he is the original personality. And even though it did immediately expansion of Krishna, but he is also an original personality. No difference between Krishna and the Balaram. We know that that same potency manifests through in various ways. We know that in the pastimes of Lord Ram, the same Balaram is manifested as the younger son of Lord Ramachandra Bhagavan, is known as Lakshmana. We know that how Lakshmana was serving the Supreme Lord. Lakshmana understood. And not even a single point of time that Lakshmanji was, saying that, okay, I can't do this. I can't do this. Every time that Balaram or the Lakshman is actually serving the Supreme Lord, even though that 14 years Lord Ram went into the forest, and even not even a single point of time Lakshmanji didn't even have a sleep and always protecting and caring. So like that, even in the Krishna Leela, we can see that Balaram also has these 5 rasas. Same as Krishna, there are 5 rasa. What are the 5 rasa? There is Shanda rasa, there is Dasi rasa, there is Sakhi rasa, there is Valsili rasa, and there is also Madhuri rasa. Balaramji also the manifestations of same as Krishna, there are these rasas. And also there is Shandaras. Balaramji is also manifest as also says that peacock and the feather and the shirt and the abode and the shoe, even the shoe. The Balaramji is this is in the form of that Shandaras. Then also there is Dasiras. You know that always Balaramji is the Sevaka Bhagavan, is always ready to serve. And this is the principle, dear devotees, the Krishna and his devotees, or the Atma and the Paramatma, that serve in such a love and devotion. That's called bhakti. So Balaramji is showing that. So Balaramji is explaining and showing this principle, the greatest principles of the relationship between the Krishna and his devotees. And Balaramji is also showing and explaining this, that the principle that one has to merely serve the master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We know that in the complete pastimes of Lord Balaramji, and Balaramji became the servant and is always serving the Supreme Lord. The servitorship is the Supreme. Then we know that in the Sakhiras, in the pastimes of Krishna, we know that they were all the time, they were like friends. See, it's mentioned that in Acharyas, and the scripture mentioned that the foremost friend of Krishna is Balaram. The foremost friend. That friendship, that Sakhiras, that always exhibiting when they placed together. When they placed together and Krishna and Balaram, they were always into that Sakya. They jokes each other. They have teasing each other. They have, always that. And then also there is a rasa called Valsili Rasa. Balaramji always has this Valsili Rasa with Krishna. And Valsili Rasa means parental. That means always taking care, caring nature of Balaramji about Krishna, for Krishna. So when Krishna goes alone, then Balaramji tell to his friends that, take care of this Krishna. Krishna is going alone there. So Balaramji always has this feeling of this parental or the caring nature of it. One day it was the day of appearance day of Krishna. Then Balaramji told to Subal, so then go look at that. Krishna is going to the banks of Kaliya, the Yamuna, the Kaliya is there. Subal, you go and take care of it. Go, don't allow Krishna to go alone there. So dear devotees, this is the way that Balaramji was having this rasa with Krishna in his parental relationship, or that rasa. Also, Balaramji has the Madhuri rasa also with Krishna. Where is that Madhuri rasa? We know that in the pastimes of Krishna, there are manjaris. One of the Manjari is known as Ananga Manjari. Ananga Manjari is the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. So in the spiritual abode, in the abode of the, Goloka Dham, this Balramji is also an Ananga Manjari. Balramji is the Mananga Manjari is the manifestation of Balramji in the Krishna's Madhuri, a very conjugal, loving relationship. So this is the way that Balramji is also in very, in exactly like Krishna in all his pastimes. Also, Krishna has the pastimes. Similarly, Balramji also has the pastimes. Balramji also has set of gopis for the pastimes. Krishna had the rasas. Balramji also had the rasas. So, like that, dear devotees has mentioned that, so that Balramji is the source of all the spiritual potency. It's known as Sandhini potency, spiritual potency. So only through Balaramji that one we can attain. We know that in the past times of Shri Gaura Nitai, the Leela, you know that this Jagai and the Madhai, because of Krishna's, that Balaramji's potency, that Nityananda Prabhu is none other than the expansions of Lord Balaram. And then Nityananda Prabhu, then the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu was even mentioning to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that this your appearance here is to relieve everybody from the clutches of this Maya. When Nityananda Prabhu was, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed to Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, go door to door every day and tell about Krishna, talk about Krishna, Krishna Pida, Krishna Mada, Krishna Sarva, Krishna. This is the way you should talk to the people and tell about Krishna. So they were doing this. One day they saw this Jagai and Madaji, they were such a drunkard and such a sinful people, and they have done such a sinful, commit such a criminal things and sinful activities that not even Yamaraj or Yamadudas cannot count on it. And it's mentioned that all the sinful activity they did, if somebody comes here, if children come, they put it in the river, killing them and drinking all the time. But Nityananda Prabhu, he is the original source, the potency that Bala, the spiritual potency, thought that this is the best opportunity that only can revive, only can relieve from these their clutches, to reveal the Papas, to bring them even to the Krishna consciousness. This is the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. Why? Because of the original spiritual potency. So then Nityananda Prabhu approached Jagai and Madhai and told to them that, hey, Sakha, hey, friends, please chant the names of Lord Krishna. That is the only shelter that only can save all of us. So immediately the Madhai took an earthen pot and threw it to the Nityananda Prabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu hit on the forehead of Nityananda Prabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu bleeded. So Nityananda Prabhu is Lord himself. He is so powerful. He could even just the thought of Nityananda Prabhu can immediately kill them. But Nityananda Prabhu didn't do that. Why? Because of Nityananda Prabhu is so merciful, and his appearance and his existence itself is to revive all these sinful people, sinful souls here from this world to attain Krishna, and in this service of to bring everybody back to Krishna. That is the original principle and tattva of the Balaram. Bring everybody back to Krishna and in the service of Krishna, and showing that. So here Nityananda Prabhu didn't care for that. So Nityananda Prabhu then thought that only way that I can bring Gauranga Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and for the deliverance of these sinful people, sinful personalities, Jagai and Madhai, only way that when I get bleeded, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come. So he was bleeding, and somebody informed, Haridas Thakur informed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and saw and got angry. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got angry, seeing that devotee of the Lord is persecuted. And this time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was about to kill these two, this Jagai and Madhai, but Nityananda Prabhu just got hold of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and prayed to the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please don't kill. Your appearance is not to kill, but to revive and bring back them into the Krishna consciousness. Please forgive them. The devotees, this is Balaram. This is Balaram. Even though there is not even none of the offenses, none of the sins doesn't affect Balaram and doesn't care for the Balaram. So Balaram is the most merciful and the most merciful. So Nityananda Prabhu was pleading to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please relieve them. When Nityananda Prabhu was praying and giving this mercy. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left them and relieved them. And then seeing this, Jagai and Madhai, they melt just by the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So then just melt, and they fall fall flat at the feet of Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showered the mercy through Nityananda Prabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if Nityananda Prabhu pardoned you, forgiven you, then you would be saved. Nityananda Prabhu immediately, I long ago, I even pardoned them, I forgave them. So the devotees, this is Lord Balaram, this is. So it's also Acharyas mentioned that unless we have the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, then we cannot attain Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So unless we have the mercy of this Sandhini potency, this Guru Shakti or Bhakti Shakti we have, that's come from the Lord Balaram, original personality, then we cannot attain Krishna. So it's very important that we understand this principle, that who is Balaram? Balaram is the Adi Guru. All the spiritual potency come from Lord Balaram. So there are so many other pastimes like that for the Lord Balaram, killing Dhenukasura, that's, killing that ignorance. So Balaram is the one who kills that, eradicate that ignorance. Balaram killed the Pralambasura. Pralambasura is that it's ego, this false ego of name, fame, and all this. So this removes that Balaram. So one who has to take shelter and completely remember and all, take that, then serve, and the service attitude, is all comes from the Balaram. Everything comes from the Balaram in the spiritual realm, the service, that's as mentioned, that Sandhini potency. So only by that we can progress and in our spiritual realm. Only that we can serve Krishna. Only through the mercy of Guru, only through the mercy of Balaram, that we can serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So dear devotees, it went a little over. Sorry, thank you so much for being there. And Hare Krishna, it's a very auspicious day today. Sorry, thank you. Back to you, Madhuvati Proj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. A very auspicious day. The appearance of Lord Balaram, the original source of all spiritual masters. It's not different than Lord Krishna, the first expansion of Lord Krishna. Lord Balaram ki Jai.
Jai.
I'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare Hare,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Hare.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Shri Nrsingo, Jai Nrsingo, Jai Jai Nrsingo, Praladesha Jayapatnam Kapadmabhingam, Ugra Veera Mahavishnu Jalantam Sarvatom Kamlam Bhishana Badram Nityam Nrsinga Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namo.
Vaishnavinda ki jai, Granthra
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada
Jai.
ki jai, Lord Balaram
Jai.
ki jai.
Jai.
Today is also fasting till noon. So, no. And then regular prasadam afternoon. We'll be having a program in the evening from 7 to 9. So come sharp at 7 so that you can attend the Aarti. Then after the Aarti will be the Katha. After Katha would be now the simultaneous mirror Abhishek on the altar and Julan outside. Our Shishi Radha Shyam Sundar. From 8 to 8:30 and 8:30 we'll have the Lordships taken around on Chandravahan as part of our Brahmotsav celebration. Since today is our anniversary of Sri Radha Shyam Sundar. Sri Radha Shyam Sundar Bhagwan ki
Jai.
Jai.
Hari.
Wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, today is
Thank you,
also a
Srimad
wonderful
Prabhuji.
day.
Thank you.
If anybody would like to do any services, they can come to the temple early. The manifestation of the temple is also the expansion of Lord Balaram. And each and every articles in the temple is the expansion of Lord Balaram. To make sure that we keep that temple clean, especially today. Every day we should be keeping it clean, but especially today, completely clean. Organized, like all the musical instruments, the expansion of Lord Balaram. So keep it organized and clean. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Srimad Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare
Happy
Krishna.
Balaram Day.